Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is chapter number 20, Ren and Martin book, page number 58. Today we are going to see the two major types of verbs. One is the transitive verb and the other is the intransitive verb. All of you know that what is a verb. Verb is actually the action in a sentence. It represents the action in a sentence कि क्या action perform कर रहा है by the subject. So the sentence structure, you know, for active voice sentences, that first we place the subject, then we place the verb, and then we place the object. Now today we are going to see what are transitive verbs and what are intransitive verbs. First of all, the definition and the origin of the word verb is given here. The verb is a word that tells or asserts something about a person or thing. Verb comes from the Latin verbum, a word. It is so called because it is most important word in a sentence. So it comes from the Latin word verbum, which means a word. So the Latin meaning of the word verb is word. And then these are the functions of the verb. These are the three functions that a verb performs: 1, 2, and 3. Number 1 is a verb may tell us what a person or thing does. It means the action. He laughs. Laughs is the verb, laughs is the action. The clock strikes. Strikes is the action performed by the subject clock. So this is the first function that a verb performs, that it tells us that what a person or a thing does. Secondly, what is done to a person or thing, the verb tells us this. He is scolded. Scolding is being done to Hal. Hal is scolded, so scolding is done. So this, in this sentence, it is telling us what is done to a person or thing. The window is broken. So what has happened to the window? The window is broken. So it also tells us that what is done to a person or thing. The third function of the verb is what a person or thing is. For example, the cat is dead. Glass is brittle. I feel sorry. In these sentences, feel, is, and in this is as well are the verbs. So this is the third function of the verb, that it is performing, that what a person or a thing is. What is cat? Cat is dead. What is glass? Glass is brittle. And what do you feel? You feel sorry. So in these cases, the verbs are telling us that what a person or thing is. In this case, you are sorry. In this case, the glass is brittle. In this case, the cat is dead. So these are the three functions performed by the verb. Now go ahead, let's please. First, now the definition of the verb. As we all know, verb is a word used to tell or assert something about some person or thing. Then a verb often consists. We are moving towards the transitive and intransitive verbs. First, we are looking into the definition and the functions of the verb. First, we saw the definition, the origin of the verb. Then we saw what are the different three functions of the verb. Then we saw the definition. Now we are moving further towards the types of the verb slowly. A verb often consists of more than one word. For example, the girls were singing. I have learnt my lesson. The watch has been found. In these cases, were singing, both are verbs. Were is also a verb, and singing is also a verb. Were is a helping verb and singing is the main verb in this case. I have learnt. Have is a verb and learnt is also a verb, although have is a helping verb in this case. The watch has been found. Has been found. These are more than one words that are the verbs in this case. Has been and found. These are the verbs. Now read these sentences. So now 180 tells us that a verb may consist of or often consists of more than one word. So if you think that the verb can consist of only one word, this is wrong. A verb can consist of more than one word. Then read these sentences. The boy kicks the football. The boy laughs loudly. Now we are coming to the transitive verb and the intransitive verb. In the sentence 1, listen carefully. In the sentence 1 is the boy kicks the football. The action denoted by the verb kicks passes over from the doer. Who is the doer? The boy. The subject. To some object, football. In this case, there is a subject, there is a verb, and there is an object. So the action is passing over from the subject to the object. The boy kicks the football. Boy is the subject, football is the object, kicks is the action. So the action is passing over from the subject boy to the object football in the second sentence. So this sentence is called in which the action passes over from the subject to the object. Such sentences are called transitive verbs. Such verbs are called transitive verbs. In second sentence, the boy laughs loudly. The action denoted by the verb laughs stops with the doer or subject boy and does not pass over to an object. The verb laughs is therefore called an intransitive verb. In this case, the boy laughs loudly. In this case, there is a subject. Boy is a subject. Laughs is the verb, but there is no object. So the action is not passing over from the subject to any object. So the laughs is called intransitive verb because this sentence there is no object to which the action is passing from subject to the object. So such sentences where the action does not pass from the subject to the object are called intransitive verbs. Intransitive means not passing over. Transitive means passing over. Here you see. So it is clear now that transitive means passing over. If the action is passing over from the subject to the object, it is transitive verb. If the action is not passing over from the subject to the object, then it is intransitive verb. So now the definition of the transitive verb is a verb that denotes an action which passes over from the doer or subject to an object. We have done this. An intransitive verb is a verb that denotes an action which does not pass over to an object or which expresses a state or being, as he runs a long distance. The baby sleeps. In this case, he ran a long distance. Action, but there is no object. The baby sleeps. There is a state. Verb के different functions हैं. Verb denotes an action. It also gives us the state, and also it gives us the being. Like the law is, there is a flaw in this diamond. Being. This is the case. What is the verb in this case? Is, and it is giving us the being of the diamond, that there is a flaw in the diamond. All these three sentences are intransitive because the action is not passing over from the subject to the object. 182. Most transitive verbs take a single object. Right? Most transitive verbs take single object. But such transitive verbs as give, ask, offer, promise, tell, and many etc. more such words take two objects after them. An indirect object which denotes the person to whom something is given or for whom something is done, and a direct object which is usually the name of a thing. So there are two types of objects. Now what we have learned here in this 182, there are two types of objects. One is the direct object and the other is indirect object. What is the direct object? Which is usually the name of something. And what is an indirect object? Which denotes person to whom something is given or from whom for whom something is done. Examples are, in this case it will clarify. So 182 is elaborating transitive verbs further, that it is not necessary that there is only one object in transitive verbs. There can be more than one or two objects in a transitive verb, like in this case. And the transitive verbs for which there can be two objects are give, ask, offer, promise, tell, and etc. His father gave him a watch. Watch is the thing, so it is the direct object. And to whom it is given? To whom, as you can see, what is an indirect object? The definition: indirect object which denotes the person to whom something is given. So to whom is the watch being given? Him. So him is the indirect object. What will be the indirect object? I repeat, the person to whom something is given. or for whom something is done. And what is a direct object? Direct object is the name of something. Second sentence, he told me a secret. Secret is the direct object and me is the indirect object, right? According to the definition of direct and indirect object. 183. Most verbs can be used both at transitive and intransitive. This is very important. 183. It is not necessary that if there is a verb, it can only be used as a transitive verb. It can also be used as an intransitive verb. So it is not necessary, keep it in mind. So most verbs can be used both as transitive and intransitive verbs. It is therefore better to say that a word is used transitively or intransitively rather than that it is transitive or intransitive. Very important point. ये नहीं कहना चाहिए, you should not say that this is a transitive verb or this is an intransitive verb, because a verb in one sentence may be used as a transitive verb, or in the second sentence it is used as an intransitive verb. So you must say that this verb in this sentence is used transitively and this verb in this sentence is used intransitively, because one verb can be used both transitively and intransitively, so they cannot be labeled transitive or intransitive verbs. Very important point. Now see the examples here. In these in the first column the verbs are being used transitively, and in the second column the verbs are being used intransitively. Listen very carefully. The ant fought the wasps. In this case the action is fought, the verb is fought, and it is passing from the subject ants to the wasps. So whenever an action passes from the subject to the object, it is a transitive verb. It is used as, or you can say fought is used transitively in this case. In simple words, you can say that if there is a direct object, that verb is used transitively in that sentence. So the ant fought the wasp. There is a direct object. So this is in this case fought is used transitively. Secondly, some ants fight very fiercely. Very fiercely is an adverb. Very fiercely is an adverb. It is not an object. So it is used intransitively. Here the fight is used intransitively. Fought is obviously the past form of fight. So in this case fought is used transitively. Second case it is used intransitively because there is no direct object. Number 2, the shot sank the ship. The shot sank the ship. There is a subject shot, sank object, and sank verb, and ship object. So there is an object, the action is passing from subject to the object. This is, so we can say that sank is used transitively. The ship sank rapidly. In this case there is no object. Rapidly is the adverb. So in this case we will say that sank is used intransitively, and similarly all these examples are given. You will go through all these examples. There is a note given. Some verbs, for example, come, go, fall, die, sleep, lie, denote actions which cannot be done to anything. If the actions cannot be done to anything, it means there cannot be an object placed with them. They can therefore never be used transitively, because in order to be used transitively there has to be an object. And these verbs come, go, fall, die, sleep, lie denote actions which cannot be done to anything. So these can only be used transitively. In such a sentence as the man killed himself. Now this is another type of verb here. The man killed himself. Man is the subject, killed is the verb, himself. Now the object and the subject both are same person. ऐसा ही है. The subject and object both are same. So we will say that this verb is used reflexively. This verb is used reflexively, where the subject and the object are the same person. The man killed himself. Such verb will be, we will say that it is used reflexively. Sometimes, though the verb is used reflexively, the object is not expressed. In the following sentences, the reflexive pronoun understood is put in brackets. For example, the bubble burst. It is needless to write itself because it is understood that the bubble burst itself. In this case, again, burst is used reflexively because it is needless to write itself with it. Even if you write itself with it, it will be okay. But even if you don't write itself with it, it is obvious that the subject and the object are the same thing. So in that case we will say that the verb is used reflexively. The bubble burst itself, the guests made themselves merry. Either you do write themselves or you do not write themselves. The subject and the object are the same people. So in this case we will say that made is used reflexively. Similarly you will read the other examples. The last thing is, rule is, these verbs may however be regarded as pure intransitive verbs without reflexive force whatever. Number 185, the last one. Certain verbs can be used reflexively and also as ordinary transitive verbs. Okay? There are certain verbs which can be used reflexively. I've told you what are reflexive verbs. And also as ordinary transitive verbs. As, do not forget his name. I forget his name. In the first sentence, forget is used as a reflexive verb. In the second sentence, forget is used transitively because there is a subject and there is an object. And I, subject, his name is object. The subject and object are not similar, are not the same person, so this is not, in the second sentence, this is not used reflexively. Do not forget his name. In this case, it is used reflexively. Acquit yourself as man. In this case, acquit is used as a reflexive verb. It is used reflexively because the subject and object are the same. The magistrate acquitted him of the charge against him. In the second sentence, acquitted is used transitively because the subject and the object are different person. In the previous sentence, acquit yourself as man, subject as and object are same person. So they are used reflexively. In the second sentence, the magistrate acquitted him of the charge against him. In this case, the subject, magistrate, and him, or the charge, the object, are different people. So it is used transitively. I enjoy myself sitting alone. Again, in this case, I, subject, and myself, object, are the same. Subject, whenever subject and object are the same people, we will say that it is a reflexive pronoun. वैसे भी myself, I self, themself, herself, himself, all these are reflexive verbs. We will say that these denote that the verb is being used reflexively. I enjoy myself sitting alone. In this case, myself or enjoy is being used reflexively. He enjoys good health. In this case, enjoys is used transitively because there is a subject and there is an object, and subject and object are different. So I will do the last one as well. He interested himself in the friend's welfare. In this case, interested is used reflexively because the subject and the object are the same people. But the same verb interest in this last sentence is used transitively because the sentence is, his talk does not interest me. In this case, the subject, his talk, and me and object are different people. So there is a subject, there is an object which are different. So in this case, you will say that interest is used transitively. If you have any questions, you can ask. That's it for now.